Hello, this is Winnie Dow, and I decided to make another video as a follow-up to what is happening in Puerto Rico because I have seen that people have a lot of questions and a lot of comments and opinions, and sometimes these are based on what they read on social media, and it's not completely true, or they don't have the facts. And since I have family in Puerto Rico and I have been in contact with them and I've been following the local news and the national news, then I think I have a better idea. I am from Puerto Rico, so I know how things work over there, and I think I could clarify some of these questions. Um, I spoke with my mom, and we came up with a list of things that we think would address some of the concerns people have. Yesterday, I spoke with a friend. She's from here, from the mainland. She's Anglo, and she doesn't really know how Puerto Rico worked. And she also asked me some things that um, made me understand a little bit more where the confusion is. For example, she mentioned that she would like to send stuff to Puerto Rico. She would like to help Puerto Rico, but she had questions about the postal service. She thought that people were going to steal whatever she sent, or the packages were not going to arrive to their destination. Um, so I had to explain to her that the postal service in Puerto Rico is exactly the postal service we have here in the mainland. So the federal laws that make or form the postal service here are the same ones in Puerto Rico. Whoever steals a package or do something like that is violating a federal law. So that's not going to happen. Many of the employees at the postal offices are also veterans. So it's it's the same system. They go through a background check and all of that. So whatever package you send should make it to their destination. And if for some reason something gets stolen on its way, it's the same process that we do here in the mainland. You would do to claim a package. Um, the mail offices in Puerto Rico are working. Yesterday, they were trying to get rid of the packages they had already in the in their storage areas from before the Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. So they were moving that out of the way so they could start getting new packages today. So as of today, most of the offices started working. What they're doing though is that the places that are still very hard to reach, they have a regional office. You're supposed to go to that regional office and get the package. Some people don't know this yet because they have not been able to contact anyone else, which is another thing. Communications are still down. Um, some people have been able to communicate to the island, and those who have done that have explained how things are working. Right now, the supermarkets are empty. Um, they don't have water, and if they do, they ration the water to, I think, 2 to 4 bottles per person. Some supermarkets have also rationed food to 2 items per person. But the other problem is that people is running out of cash. So even if you have a supermarket that has some food, you're not going to necessarily be able to go get it because if you don't have cash with you, there's no other way you can buy food. And the ATMs are not working. The welfare cards, none of that is working. And as far as I understand, welfare has not been given to the people. You know, the monthly payments they received, they haven't received the payment this month. They received a very small amount before the hurricane, which is, I think, $13 only, and that's not enough. Um, that's the currency in Puerto Rico works exactly like in the mainland. So $13 in Puerto Rico are exactly what $13 are here in the mainland. So that amount of money wasn't helpful at all. So and they haven't received anything. Um, Banks are not working fully. So I have a sister-in-law that works at a bank, and they are working at a limited capacity. They are rationing the money also. So some people can get $50, $40 per day. Some other people, the luckier ones, can get $150 per day. Um, Now, um, this may be different in the metro area, and I have to then mention Trump went to the island, and what he showed on TV wasn't exactly what is happening in the island. So a lot of people think now that the island is well and recovered or on its way to recovering, and that's not true. They're still in the emergency phase of this operation. In the metro area, we have richer people. They have stronger houses. Houses in Puerto Rico are usually made of concrete. But in the metro area, they're not only made of concrete, but also in better areas that are not flood prone and things like that. So when Trump went to the island, he visited these areas. I understand why, because um, he cannot just stop anywhere because of safety reasons. He has to plan where he's going to stop, and the people that are going to be interacting with him have to be have to have a background check and all of that. So that part I understand. But what he showed, what the news showed that day, that's not what's going on in the island. The metro area is recovering. They have some of them have water and some of them have food. Some grocery stores in the metro area have food to sell and water. They are rationing all these things, but they are available. Cash is flowing because some ATMs are working, some banks are receiving money and allowing people to withdraw money. But this is not the case even in the metro area when you go to the countryside or the mountainside. This is why the mayor of San Juan has been asking for help, because what you see in the metro area is different from what you see in the island. Puerto Rico, it has a huge mountain range in the middle of the island, and it goes from east to west. So a lot of people live in these areas, and that is the those are the people that they haven't been able to reach, because these are very remote areas. There are caves, there are caverns, there are big rivers. There, when the rivers are raging, they become really problematic to reach people. A lot of people have houses on the hills, like the hill goes this way and the house is here like hanging. And the problem with that is that with the landslides that have happened, they have lost part of the house. Um, so this is what's going on in that area. That's why it seems like things are moving, because what you see on the news is this. And again, I understand why the news are showing you this. The news, if they want to be live on TV, let's say CNN, Fox, whoever wants to be live on TV, they have to be in the metro area, because that's where the signal is. Right now, the southern part of the island or the western side of the island don't have any signal. So if they want to transmit from there, it's not possible. They can take videos from that area like David Begnot did, but then they have to go back to the metro area if they want to transmit to their channels. So this is what is happening right now. Right now we have a lot of celebrities in the island helping. Bethany Frankel is there, and she's been doing a lot. She brought 4 airplanes full of supplies, and then she transported those 4 airplanes full of people with cancer and who needed medical care out of the island. That was great. We have also Cheyenne, Ricky Martin, and Daddy Yankee and Luis Fonsi, and there's another one that I don't know who he is, but he's a singer that are in the island and are helping. I think Carlos Ponce is either in the island helping or helping online to get people out of there. So a lot of people are helping. But what happens with this help is that they usually go to their hometowns. Hometowns. So they go to these hometowns and they bring the help to their people, which is understandable. But then we have other towns that don't have any celebrities that can help, and those are the towns that are being forgotten. Not because they are mean and want to do it, but this is what is happening right now. That's why a lot of people are running out of water, out of food, out of medications, even over-the-counter medications. I spoke with my brother's mother-in-law, and she had a huge headache because dehydration gives you a headache, but also because she has medical conditions and she probably wasn't getting her medications the way she should. So, and this is the case for a lot of people. Today, I've read about 8 people who have died, and it's right now it's 5:40 p.m. as I'm recording this video, and 8 people have died since I woke up in the morning. These people who have died are located in the island. We call the island the area that is not the metro area. So when I say metro area, that's the capital. When I say the island, I mean other than the metro area. So in the island, or in the southern, western, center parts of the island, 8 people have died today. There are no funerary services. There are no capacity for funerary homes to take these bodies, and a lot of people were asking if they could cremate their bodies. But apparently they don't even have that service because they don't have the power, the diesel, the gas to use their generators to do that. Mortuary Affairs is already in the island and they're helping, but they cannot reach these areas yet. The roads have been destroyed, and we're talking about rural areas, mountainous areas that don't have a road that connects them. Some towns are not connected to each other anymore. Towns in Puerto Rico sometimes are divided by rivers, by lakes. So these towns are now not connected at all, and because the rivers have so much water, it's not like you can cross them on foot or swim in and get to the other side. A lot of rescues are happening. Food has been dropped by helicopter, but this is another thing. There's a video going on, and they showed these military personnel getting things. So as I was saying, there is this video of a helicopter delivering food, and it seems like they're throwing out or tossing the food, and people got really mad. But what happens is that the army has to take care of their personnel and also the other people. They cannot wait for the people to come to the helicopter and give them things hand to hand, because the thing that goes tiki 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 in the helicopter can harm people. So, you know, it's common sense that they would just throw the supplies next to the helicopter and then leave, and then have the people come and get the supplies. So there's nothing else going on in that video. Another thing is that the things that are being delivered to the people, the supplies that are being delivered to the people, are snacks because they didn't have enough food. So why? Everybody's talking about the logistics and how bad they are. But what happens right now is that FEMA always plans. They have like a hierarchy, and with this hierarchy, they can distribute food. They bring the food, they give it to the governor give it to the mayors, and the mayors give it to the people. But right now, that chain was broken because they cannot get to all the mayors, and the mayors cannot get to all the people. For some reason that I still don't know, they were giving snacks to the people, not food, and it was more like calories than nutrition. For example, they were receiving a bag of Skittles, 2 cans of tuna, and water. That's what they were receiving per person. So what I think is that that was more like an emergency supply until they could establish a more normal and steady flow of food. But that's what happened yesterday, and people yesterday and the day before, and the people were getting really upset about that. But and I'm speaking for what I know, but also my husband is in the army, so and he's a logistician, so he has explained to me how things work a little bit. Um, let's see what else I have here. Um, the logistics also, it takes time because it's not about receiving the food at the food and the supplies at the port and then giving them out. They have to sort them out, they have to distribute them according to population size, and then they have to put it in the trucks and then deliver it. Right now the priority is for those who get welfare and for those who are staying at shelters, which is kind of unfair because even if you are working class, middle class, or high class, at this moment in Puerto Rico, everybody is the same because you don't have cash with you. So they should be giving the aid away to everyone the same, but that's what's really happening right now. Um, then a lot of people have said, hey, don't Puerto Ricans know how to survive with whatever they have around? Well, this is very, very, very offensive whenever I read this, and this is why. Um, in Puerto Rico, the root culture is Taino. Taino is Native American. We all know how to survive in the wild, all of us. That we learn in school, in kindergarten, and also our grandmothers passed down that information and that wisdom from generation to generation. So we all know how to survive. We all know how to fish. We all know what to eat, what not to eat. If mosquitoes are killing us, we know that achiote can work as a repellent. What is achiote? You don't know. We do know. But the thing is, um, that's not the problem. The problem is that right now, if you're very high up in the mountain near to the springs, you're good. You can drink that water. But if you're not, then you're risking your life by drinking the water from the rivers because there are dead animals in the rivers. For example, in some town, I can't remember the name. I think it was Mocha. They found that they found out there was a horse carcass in the river, so they had to close down all the water sources because they were already providing water to certain communities, and they had to stop that because of contamination. You can fish if you want, but the fish is also going to be contaminated because of those bodies. They have to be removed first. The water, right now, after a hurricane, will get clean eventually, but right now, the natural process is that the water is not good to drink. Fish in the ocean. We know how to fish in the ocean with our hands even. So that shouldn't be a problem, but it is because with a hurricane, everything gets like twisted, like the currents are not working in a predictable way. Whatever you used to go and find food, there's no food. Like you used to fish in this part of the ocean or this part of the sea. Well, guess what? Animals are not going there because coral reefs and all of that gets affected during a hurricane, especially if it's a category 5 hurricane. Eat from the fruits, from the trees. Well, no, they got destroyed. There are no fruit trees anymore. They just fell. They are going through a process. They will bloom again. They will give fruit again. But right now, at this moment, they're not. Um, we eat a lot of roots like potato and yuca, ñame, things like that. But right now, because the soil got so much water, those roots got damaged. So it doesn't work as food anymore. So you see, it's not that they don't want to do something, they're doing it. They're surviving. They know how to survive, but the land that we know how to survive in is not in the same condition that we know. Is not giving us what it usually gives us. Iguanas. There's a lot of iguanas in the island, and I read somewhere that people were starting to cook the iguanas. Well, the iguanas love to swim, and right now the sewage water is contaminating the rest of the water, like river, lakes, etc. So if these iguanas swim in that water and then you cook them, there's a good chance that you can get salmonella. So it's not as easy as just saying do this or do that. Um, Outbreaks. There are already outbreaks reported in the San Juan area, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the island must have some outbreaks too, but those are not reported because no one is going to those places yet. So um, we have human mange and conjunctivitis, and I think something else, but I forgot what the other thing is. Because they have a lot of people in just one place. These are refugees and evacuees. Because remember that before Hurricane Maria affected the island, Hurricane Irma had affected the Lesser and Greater Antilles. So a lot of these refugees and evacuees from those islands were staying at refuge centers in Puerto Rico. So, and right now, they have continued to be in these refugees, and I mean, in these refuges, and there's no water, there's no electricity. I heard a mayor say that they were covering with dirty blankets, that they needed clean blankets because they don't have water to clean these things, and those things are perfect to produce outbreaks, and that's what is happening right now. So dialysis, people who receive dialysis are receiving less time or no dialysis at all, and people have died already because of this. Insulin, the insulin is going bad, so people are not using it. Some company, I think, clarified that their insulin can be used 28 days after it has been out of the fridge. But guess what? They don't have internet, so and they have no telephone communications or cell phone communications. So how can we let them know what this company said? So um, everything is chaotic right now. There is some progress being made, but it's not as perfect as President Trump maybe made it look on TV. The other areas of the island, the southern, the center, the northern, the west part of the island, especially the south and west parts of the island, have been affected pretty bad. And people do not have food, people do not have medication, people have not been in contact with help. And I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying especially the people that live up in the mountain. So it's not that Puerto Ricans are not doing what they can, is that the resources that we have or that they have in the island to help each other were destroyed also in the hurricane. So the other day, for example, there were so many airplanes going in and out the airport that a helicopter flipped over and fell. The pilot died the next day. And this is a Puerto Rican pilot, and they were doing rescues with FURA of Puerto Rico. So it's not easy. The pilots who are doing rescues every single day, they're risking their lives. Yesterday, because Trump was in the island, no one was able to fly, so no rescues were done. No food was airlifted to any place in the island. There was a lot of traffic jams in the metro area, so I'm guessing trucks didn't deliver as they should have. So there's a lot of issues and variables that people do not consider when they say, for example, don't they know how to survive in the island? Yes, they know, but the island is not the island that we know. If I go to the island right now, I would not probably recognize most of it because it's not how I remember it. So, if you want to help, help. If you want to criticize, shut up because you don't know. A soldier told me, "Oh, we know what this is like. I was in a war and I had to be thirsty and hungry, and I was in the middle of a war. And I'm not saying that wasn't bad for him, but look, they were taking care of your family. You trained for that. You volunteered for the army. You had rations, and when your food and water ran out, you knew that help was coming your way. Puerto Rican people, the normal people, not the soldiers, not the Puerto Rican soldiers. I'm talking about regular people. They didn't train to survive in a hurricane. They not only have to worry about surviving themselves, but they also have to worry about feeding their families, about giving them water, about keeping them safe, about keeping them healthy. Uh, you know, they didn't train for that. That's added stress. Probably they're sick also. There's a lot of people in Puerto Rico who go there because they have retired, and because they're older, they have conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, things that require medication, and they're not receiving that. They're older people. Um, so yes, it's not the same. You train for a war, you don't train for a hurricane. The army takes care of your family while you're fighting in a war. Nobody's taking care of these families. You volunteer for war, for arm, for the armed services. You don't volunteer for a hurricane. You go to a war and you have a tent that you go to. They don't even have that. The roofs were blown away by the hurricane, and FEMA have not given them the tents, the blue tents that they always give away. They haven't done that yet. The tents are in the island already, but they're not distributing them yet. I don't know why. So mosquitoes are plaguing the island, and the people that have no roof have to sleep in what is left of their houses and with the mosquitoes everywhere around them. So this is a humanitarian crisis already. Um, a lot of the people that are there helping, Foxem, I think is the name of one of these organizations, are criticizing FEMA and the government and all of that. I'm not saying the government is not helping. I'm saying the government needs to help faster and needs to help more. Um, it's not like they're giving help to Puerto Ricans because they're good people, because it's a nice thing to do. They're doing it because we are American citizens. We pay taxes. Yes, Puerto Ricans pay taxes. Big news. We do. Even if we're in the island, we do pay taxes. We don't pay personal federal taxes, but we pay other taxes that United States takes through the Jones Act. United States takes billions of dollars annually. So from Puerto Rico, United States is not stupid. They're not going to keep a territory that is not giving them anything. So when you say Puerto Ricans, they don't deserve it because they don't pay taxes or because they don't contribute to this nation, whatever. Well, yeah, we do. We contribute to this nation. My husband is a federal employee and also a military service officer. So don't assume that everyone in Puerto Rico is just there waiting for things to be handed over to them, because that's not the case. They're surviving. They know how to survive, but they don't have the way to survive, the means to survive. So, as I said, if you want to help, help. But if you want to criticize something you don't know anything about, if you cannot empathize with their pain, if you cannot feel for them, shut up. Shut up. Don't go on internet commenting and spreading hate, because this hurts a lot. For us Puerto Ricans who are living in the diaspora, either in United States or around the world, this hurts a lot. It's a very painful time. And we don't need your hatred. We don't need your no help. We are not telling you to mourn with us, but respect that we are mourning. Respect that our land that we're so proud of has been destroyed, and we're going to rebuild it. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take help from those who want to help. So, like my grandmother and mother used to say, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Thank you.